Hello everyone and welcome to That Catholic Gamer Dude Plays Rimworld. Yes, is this a new LP? No, not really. See, here's the thing. GEForce Experience, the company from the software from NVIDIA that manages all kinds of different visual display settings, pushed out a new update to its main software, GEForce Experience, which I just mentioned. I use that because it has a component in it called Shadowplay, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the only really useful thing in that software. But because they pushed out a massive update, I've had to figure out what and where their settings are and other things like that, because I've been having some issues with capturing and recording and syncing the audio that I record for the voice work, the stuff that I'm talking right now, with the gameplay. I'm not quite sure what's actually nailing it down. So I'm trying a different strategy to capture this footage using Shadowplay, and if all goes according to plan and you're seeing the speech that I'm giving right now, then I finally got everything ironed out. So, and I also didn't want to use an existing LP because then I'd be losing footage and that would be very bad. So what is Rimworld? Well, for those who don't know, Rimworld is a colony simulator by Tynan Sylvester. And what it is that you are people basically stranded on a planet. I'm assuming that it was like a colony ship of some kind that just got lost. And so the base scenario anyway, you are 3 survivors from that ship trying to build up a new colony with the ultimate goal to be building enough supplies and researching enough tech to build a ship to get off the planet. It's pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and just take a look. Like I said, I'm not going to do too much, and I probably won't do too much explaining, but I will just kind of narrate just to kind of fill it. I'm going to take about 20 minutes for this particular video, give or take. Basically, I'm just trying to, more than anything else, map is scattered with, 7 pictures around me. Okay, you start with all this stuff, cool. And the idea is that you have 3 survivors that are going to try to survive this world. I'm going to choose Cassandra Classic, which is the storyteller AI, where she throws basic events at you and kind of matches how well you're doing. So like if you're doing well, then the challenges that she'll throw at you get harder. If you are doing poorly, then she kind of eases up a bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. They're going to create a world that basically generates an entire world, but you only deal with one particular chunk of it. For your colony. So like right here is where your colony is going to be, and then everything else. So like these are all like active biomes. There are factions and other things like that. It's pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to go ahead and select that site. Then there's a backstory. You got cooking. Let's see. Alberto, who was a bodyguard, as incapable of social or firefighting. Great. He's a pyromaniac. No. Let's go ahead and randomize some of these people. Incapable of violence here. Check shift. Do you have anybody who's shooting? Oh, these people are awful. Melee. I want like... Actually, this one is pretty good. Anna as a healer. I'm going to go ahead and randomize some stuff. This one's not bad either, and he's got a 3 in construction, which is bad, but that means he learns twice as fast. Learns really quickly, so I'm gonna do that. And actually, I think that is a pretty well fleshed out crew. So we have 2 people who can fight. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so that pause was just to see if things synced up, because I think on my last time I tried to do this, this was the first place where things just started going to pieces. So we're going to do a little count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then the 3 of you awake in your cryosleep from your cryosleep sarcophagi blah, 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 to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown Rimworld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. Okay, so very first thing that we got to do on our little Rimworld planet is to scout around and see what we can do. Ultimately, we'll want to build a shelter. Although, interestingly enough, it looks like we already have something of a makeshift shelter right here in the ruins. Very curious. What I may end up doing is putting a door here and then building this out so that we have some kind of like common barracks. Most of it is going to be based off of wood, but we're going to go ahead and first do our little stockpile area here so that we just have a place to store all of our goods. And then before I forget, the character, he's got the shooting skills. Nathaniel Gianni is going to equip a sniper rifle. And she's incapable of any violence whatsoever. Her shooting's terrible, but better than nothing, so let's go ahead and do that. We also need to unblock all of the interaction with this stuff, because the game starts out saying that don't interact with anything. And I think this is come on. I think that's because you don't want the characters just kind of picking up everything on the map. So that's that. Alright, so the game is telling us that we need colony beds first and foremost, which is fine. Let's see here. So what we're gonna do is that while we pause it again, I'm gonna first start building out a bit of a structure here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we get 6 space on that, and then there's that, so it gets 7. 7. So, yeah, okay, that works. Okay. Build that here, build that, build that, build that, and then we're gonna put just one block of wood there, kind of solidify things up. So I'm not quite sure who's on construction for us. Marshall is. Good. Good. So Nate is hauling wood. He's gonna start constructing soon, hopefully. There's a lot of hauling going on. Yeah, I think everybody is set to hauling. Let's see what Nate does actually here. So that you basically set. Okay, so oh great, you're gonna eat. Oh no, so he's cutting the poplar tree first. Okay, so we gotta clear some stuff in order to build this shelter. So we're gonna go ahead and do that just now. And so there he goes and starts constructing. Isn't that great? Let's see. So basically that's our goal for this. You failed? You have like some of the highest construction. Oh no, never mind. He really sucks at constructing, but he's very passionate. You know, it's kind of like that demotivational poster with the board with the bent nails in it, talking about enthusiasm. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I may post a link in here if I remember to. So he's just building out the barracks and the doors and everything like that. Once he gets the stuff in place, then we'll go ahead and proceed with making the actual beds. And so most of these Rimworld games kind of start out pretty much the same way. One other thing that we will probably need is to build a couple of different things, like a medical facility and a prison, because you'll be able to take prisoners as well. In fact, before I forget, because I always forget, I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. Get kind of this whole thing in place. So he's running around getting wood. One thing that we want to have we are going to want other people to start chopping wood, so we have more wood supplies, because even though wood is plentiful and pretty easy to construct some of this stuff, you'd be surprised how quickly you run out of it, even just doing basic construction. And so what's other interesting too is that it seems like Nate is working his behind off. The other two are wandering. But let me see. Plant cut. Only Nate can plant cut? No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to put you all on plant cut duty. And Nate is going to be the one who does the construction. So basically what I'm doing here is that you can manage the tasks that people actually perform. And typically you would set them with like the manual priorities here and actually set them, because that's actually more useful. But since it's so early, it really doesn't matter, because one, you only have 3 colonists, so you need at least one person doing each job, and you'll be constantly reassigning people, because there's just so much to do, and you only have 3 people to do it. Alright, actually, what we need to do is... I forgot about this. Let's create a dumping zone. This is... Oh. That's a stockpile zone. I messed that up. So as a dumping stockpile zone, I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. And then, so what this does is that it actually puts all of the junk and other things that you can't really use right now. It's out of the way. Okay, now that we've constructed that, we're gonna go ahead and build some beds. We're gonna build beds so that people have a place to sleep. I don't know if they'll be done though by the time all that comes in. I'm also putting in a torchlight and a potted plant, so at least I have some natural beauty in there. Because one of the most interesting thing about this is that you have this AI that does do these like tasks and things like that, but they also have mental states. And if your mental state, and if one of your character's mental state gets too low, then actually, you know what, Nate, go ahead and prioritize working on this bed. Just finished telling you to prioritize the bed. Whatever, man. The other thing too is that they do have some... The AIs of these characters do definitely have some quirks, and it's just because they're like simulating natural personalities. They're not like bugs or anything like that. But it's just interesting to me. See, now Rosa's going to sleep. Okay. Build this... Oh, Nate, come on. Just finish this bed and then you can take a nap, bud. I promise. There you go. Well done. Alright. So, now that it's nighttime, can't really do much, but that's okay. We accomplished our first task. And is this something... Oh, a female Yorkshire colony age porker. It's a dog, I think. 15-year-old dog, usually. Oh, that's a cryo sleep kind of thing. So, like, what's even interesting is that the ages of people are based on the fact that they were in cryo sleep. So it has like a real age in terms of when they were born and when what their biological age is, which basically how old are their bodies. So that's all that. And then so we're gonna start a new day. Everybody's gonna come out and grab their food. They're gonna be a little upset because they had to, and I can show you actually what they need. So they have needs. So here's what you get. So like very low expectations, new colony optimism. She's naturally an optimist. 8 fine meal, because that comes from the packaged food. So you get a tiny little mood boost. 8 without table. Basically you weren't able to sit down. Sometimes they just feel bad for no reason, even though they're naturally optimistic. That's kind of weird. And then joy deprived. And what that basically means is that they need to have things to do to actually feel happy, because all work and no play makes colonists crazy. So what you got right now, like, see right here, Nate is going for a walk, so he's just doing normal joy stuff, and Anna is clearing the rock rubble at the moment. She's cleaning the rocks. Good for her. Actually, what it is that... Oh, interesting. Let's get that steel. So Nate, once Nate is done with his walk, then he's going to start, and I think Rosa's stalking Nate at the moment. But once Nate is done with his walk, then he will get back to work building stuff. The reason why I built a 4th one is because I'm going to designate this a... I can't do that just yet. Maybe? Alright, that's a bed, that's a bed. Oh, I can do that. It's right here. It's right in front of me. I'm going to designate this as a prisoner bed. And the reason why is because we're going to have raids sent toward us and things like that by other people. And sometimes they don't die by your gunfire. They just get downed. And then you can either capture them or when you rescue them, you just basically heal them up and send them on their way. If you capture them, you can have a potential of having them recruit for your colony. So what we're going to do here is build ourselves a table, and then we're just going to build some very basic You know what? This is what, 60 wood? Dining chair is not that bad. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's splurge a little bit. It's only the 3 of them right now. And at some point, we're going to want to orders. We're going to definitely want to chop more wood again. And then what we'll also want to do is cut the plants around this area. Because, and I'm doing this for a very specific reason. When there are events that can cause these fairly large fires, and that has wiped out more colonies than anything else that has happened to me in this game. So we're just gonna clean them out. We're gonna use some wood. Oop, whoa. Timberwolf just took down that rat like a boss, and he ate it. And that's the other thing too, is that this game actually has a bunch of different things that that actually go on in the world itself. So just focusing on your consoles, there's like a whole world. There's like, you know, animals going across, and then you'll find packs. And then, although right now this looks pretty sparse, these awful boomalopes explode if they die. It's a very unpleasant sensation. So one of the first things that we're trying to do is obviously put down a settlement and get all this stuff up and running. But the very next step that we'll want to do is build ourselves a cooking station, because food is going to become an issue very quickly. I'm going to warp, and then we're going to add some, not furniture, but structures. We're going to build a wooden door here, and we'll build a wooden door here. So after that's done, and then those will be the last few things for this room. Sandstone blocks, fascinating. Now Nate is was consuming a meal. What? No, you totally ate with a table. Weird. I guess that was from before. So we're gonna put a roof on this sucker, and then he's gonna put roof on. He's gonna plant a plant. Okay. And then he's gonna plant plants and others. And then what we will probably do next then is, let's see here. What we want to do next is to build ourselves a fridge. No, actually, before we do that, as I mentioned before, you can be attacked. Where do we want to? It's probably best to build an initial security right here. And really you just need a defensive formation, because you want to be able to get behind cover. It's so sparse in this game initially that if they were to come from like right here and start attacking stuff, that actually works out to my advantage in a bit, because then I can kind of circle around the corner. But most of the time what you really want to do is just have a kind of a basic defensive formation, at least initially. And everybody's asleep again. Let's see here. What do we do? I'm actually coming up on about 18 minutes, so I think I've got enough footage at least for this technical demonstration. If you're really interested in seeing Rimworld and seeing how far it goes, I know this is kind of boring at the moment, but kind of uploading it to YouTube kind of confirms to me, assuming this does make it to YouTube, that everything is now going according to plan and everything is fine. If you're interested in seeing more Rimworld, I can start a new LP of that. I will not discontinue This Is the Police. But if I get popular demand for actually seeing how well I do, or if you just want to see me fail in this game, drop a line in the comments and let me know. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been that Catholic Gamer Dude playing Rimworld, and I will see you next time.